Why are schools still open? That's what I want to know. Why are we still dropping our fucking kids off?
All right, guys, we don't get into conspiracy theories here too often, but we are for this video. So go watch his. He's, visibly upset, rightly so, due to what's happening, especially what happened recently in Apalachee. But he's asking the question, why are we still dropping our kids off to school? You probably caught that in the stitch there. And he keeps kind of reiterating that, why aren't we homeschooling more? And so I'm going to present this to you. Isn't it kind of funny that is the reaction we're getting now? Is like we should just pull our kids out and homeschool. To me, this seems like a plot to get everybody to pull their kids out of public schools. Because what do public schools have, right? Communication. Kids are allowed to collaborate together. Even if kids are not completely accurate and everything, it forces you to kind of pay attention to what's going on. But if we suddenly had everybody homeschool, one, it's not even feasible. But if we force everybody to homeschool, we're isolating people. So let's isolate everybody on homeschool curriculum. People won't talk to each other. Kids are now taught by their parents, right? Which this solves the problem, because the problem of indoctrination for people that want kids taught a certain way, because if your kids are being taught in the home and you have right-leaning values, you're going to provide those right-leaning values to your kids. I know there's stuff that says you can't do that, but that line is so blurred in home education. So now we're going to have kids that are very, very polarized from the beginning of their education on. It's going to create a bigger divide. So the trend of take your kids out of school because it's not safe does not help, because it's going to further polarize their students. Kids, even as they're still learning things, start to realize one way or the other they do or do not like things. So we're going to stunt our kids' education, their personal growth, to have them be strictly at home. Because if we do allow that, the next step would be people like, well, I'll have community gatherings. But those are going to be very, very biased based on what side somebody's on. So you're not going to have mixed groups of people anymore forcing interaction and forcing education. Instead, what you're going to get is you're going to have the Republican kids sticking with the Republican kids and the Democratic kids sticking with the Democratic kids. We need our kids to be socially mixed. We need them to be socially mixed. Also, schools provide mixing of different races and backgrounds. That is necessary for the development of people. So homeschooling our kids is not the option. In addition to that, like I said prior, though, it's not a realistic option for a lot of people. They don't have the time. If both parents have to work full time, it's not going to be a thing. I understand it's unsafe. We need actual legislation for safety of firearms, and we need a revision of a lot of our laws. That's what it's going to have to be. We need to get there. I know it is frustrating. I'm just as frustrated as everybody else. I have a son who goes to school, so it's not like I have no skin in the game on this. But it really is a terrible situation where we're talking about physically separating each other. Look what happened during the panini. I have to say it that way because the filter, and I feel ridiculous doing it. But look what happened during that. How bad off our kids were. How much they lost out. It's going to be that and then some if we homeschool everybody. So anyway, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think? I know it's unsafe, and I'm sorry you feel that way, but what would you plan on doing? What do you plan on doing? And what are your ideas on getting us out of this situation?